everybody, it's Leanne from Product Ponies, and today I'm going to show you how to make a locking ruler to trim up your half square triangles. I have a ton of half square triangles that need to be squared up. I've been saving these for years. This isn't all of them, but that's not what this is about. It's about trimming them up. So I was trimming up today and it was just taking forever. I thought there has to be a faster way to do this. So I started thinking and I came up with an idea for making a locking ruler. And this will work for any size half square triangle. If it's a bigger half square triangle, then you're going to need a bigger ruler. You're going to need something to cut with and some tape. You don't have to use painter's tape. This happened to be what I had on hand. I use it not a lot, but often in the sewing room. So I have this in my drawer, and I've got some glow line tape. You don't have to have glow line tape. Not necessary, but I find it to be handy. So, and you're going to need a rotary cutter and of course a ruler. So let's get to it. The first thing we need to do is to layer our tape. We just want it wider than the ruler that we have. So we'll just lay it there so we can get a good idea of where it's going to start and stop. You know, you don't want to waste it because this is all about budget friendly. Quilting is a pretty expensive hobby, and when we can do something that's a little bit thrifty to make our lives easier, why not do it, right? Not have to spend more money. So I'm trying to line this up with the line on here, just so it'll make it later easier when we cut this, and just making sure it goes past my ruler. Now this first piece of tape needs to be longer than all the rest of them. It just makes it easier to pull that tape up off of this cutting mat. And this doesn't have to be layered on here exactly. Just get it as straight as you can because we're going to trim it up to make sure that it's as straight as, has a very straight edge on it. So here's the third time, or the third piece. And the fourth piece. Now you also, whoops, that crinkled on me. You don't want to pull on this real hard because it will stretch and distort and bow on you. So just lay it down there nice and easy. And you also don't want to use your good rotary cutter. This is an old blade. So now what we're going to do is to trim this up to make sure that this is a nice straight edge. So I'm just lining it up with the line on the edge of the tape and cutting. And I'm going to grab that right there and pull it off. Well, if I can get a hold of it. Right there. And I didn't get it cut on the end, but that's okay. We're going to throw that piece away anyway. Okay, we can trim that off so it makes it easier to get off of the table. There we go. Get it off the table. Okay, so I've put the 1 inch mark on the edge of the tape, but I'm going to cut this off, and it's going to be 1/4 inch. There we go. We got it. All right. Now this piece is just extra, so we're going to pull it off first, and we don't want to throw this away. It's still usable. So what I'm doing, and I've got extra pieces on here because I've already done this, is this is a piece of freezer paper. You could use wax paper, whatever you want. Stick it on there, and you can use it for other things, which we'll talk about later. It won't stick to that. It's the shiny side of the freezer paper. Anyway, here's the piece that we want to put on our ruler. So let's pull it off of there. And here's our ruler. We're going to flip it over and put it on, I think it's this side. Let me make sure this is right. Let me think about it for a minute. Turn it over. Yes, this is the right side. So if you had your ruler like this with your 1, 2, 3 up here, just take it and flip it over and put your tape on the top side of that diagonal line, that 45-degree line, and you want it the line to still be showing, but you're just trying to like cut it in half basically. So let's see if you can see that. And see how it's on there? All right, so then we're going to turn it over and trim that off. Trim the other one off. All right, now we are going to trim our triangle up to 3 inches. So this side, it's really easy. You know, there's a 3-inch square right here. Let me put this piece of white paper back here. You see the 3-inch square, right? This side, not so easy. And that's where the glow line tape comes in. You can use any color you want. It comes in several different colors. You can get it at Walmart or craft stores. It's usually sold in a pack of different colors. So this is a 6.5-inch ruler, so we got a 1/2 inch there. We're going to count over to 3. There's 1.5, 2.5, and there's 3. So our glow line tape, we will put just above that 3-inch line. Okay? We don't want it on the line or covering it because we want to be able to see. And this is kind of clear tape. You know, you can see through it, but we just want to make sure that we can see the lines on there and see our block. So we're going to do the same thing here. There's 1.5, 2.5, there's 3. Put our tape on there on the outside of that line, and we can cut that. Cut this here, pull it off. You don't want to push real hard on your ruler, you'll scratch it. You can cut it with scissors if you want. I just am doing it this way. Okay, now we've got our 3-inch square there. So let's get our 1/2 square triangle, and I'm pressing it right now. Pressing it to the dark side. Well, let's bring it over here. At least you can watch me do that, huh? So I'm going to set that seam so it kind of sinks down into the fabric a little bit. And then we will press it open to the dark side. And I'm going to come on the back side and make sure I got a nice good seam. I don't use steam. So, all right, so here's our 1/2 square triangle. And we're going to lay our ruler on there, and we're going to push it right up against that seam, and see how it just kind of like pushes it along? Pushes it along. All right. Now I'm going to move this paper. You're going to push it along and look down here to see if your 3-inch line, because we're making a 3-inch 1/2 square triangle, is inside that fabric. So now I can trim it. That side's done. Now, if you've got a rotating cutting mat, you could use that, or with me, this is just a plain old mat. I'm going to slide this down, and you could slide it like this if you want, or you could spin your whole mat. I find it easier not to spin the whole mat. So I'm sliding it down, and I'm lining that 3-inch line up at the edge of my 1/2 square triangle, and trimming these 2 sides, the other 2 sides, and that little piece of tape that was sticking out there. So there we have it. Our 3-inch circle, or a circle, oh my goodness, our 3-inch 1/2 square triangle. Super easy. Now, if you had a quilt that's got different size 1/2 square triangles in it, you could come in here and do a 5-inch and mark it out if you needed to in a different type or a different color of glow line tape. It's really hard to find the end of it, and just put it on the outside of the 5-inch mark like that. And I've done that with my large 12-inch ruler, and I've got it marked at 10.5 for the pink and 8.5 for the orange. And here's the square for the other side, and you would just slide it down. Same concept, it's just a bigger ruler. Now, you're thinking, well, that's a lot of waste of tape. No, not really. And you don't have to use glow line tape. You could do this with just the blue tape. Put it on top of there, on the top. And just leave this. You don't have to take it off. I mean, you could keep using your ruler for other projects and never have to take it off. But if you wanted to, you could put them on, if you didn't like that, you could put them over here on a piece of freezer paper. And that's what I've done here. This is the template for the 6.5-inch ruler. Now let me grab another ruler. I've got several 6.5-inch rulers, so I could just peel that off of there. Whoops, turn it the right way. And put it on this ruler. like that, and it's good to go. Trim up your half square triangles and then take it off and put it back onto the freezer paper. So we're still going to have a lot of extra tape, and I'm going to show you other areas in sewing or quilting that you could use this tape. Okay, the next thing that you can do with the tape is to make a seam guide. Not everyone has the ability to move their needle back and forth on their sewing machine. I do, but my older machines did not. So what you can do is get you some graph paper. They've got a 1/4 inch seam. This is the easiest way to do it. That's a 1/4 inch between each one of those lines. And you're going to take and drop your needle down in between one of the lines that's closest to the edge of that paper. Okay? And then you're going to take the tape and line it up with the line next to it. And I've got this layered 2 layers. I took that one piece of tape and cut it in half and then laid them on top of each other so I could lay it on here. And I'm just lining it up with the next line. So that's going to give me a 1/4 inch seam from my needle. Let me zoom in there so y'all can see that. See? Make sure that's sticking down there. It's just... All right, zoom back out. So no matter what foot you put on there now, it's going to be, your fabric's going to be a 1/4 inch away, because you're going to put your fabric right up against it like that and start stitching. I'm just going to pull that off there. Now, if you don't have a piece of paper, you can use any ruler. Let me reach over here and get a ruler and show you that. Now, I don't suggest that you do this with your sewing machine on, because you might accidentally hit your foot pedal and crash your needle into your sewing machine or to this ruler. But as you can see, there's a 1/4 inch mark right there. So you can just lower your needle down into the crosshairs of that 1/4 inch mark. And you'll want to wiggle it around. Make sure that you're right on it. I am not on that 1/4 inch mark. There's the 1/4 inch mark. And then you would put, it's right in those crosshairs, then you would put your tape down. And that's the way you would know that you're at a 1/4 inch. You've got a 1/4 inch seam. So let's lift that up, being very, very careful. All right, now we can put our foot on and start sewing. Any foot. It doesn't have to be a 1/4 inch foot. You can have a zipper foot. It just doesn't matter. Any foot at all will work. I'm gonna put this little piece on here. My machine tends to eat fabric if you don't put that on there. Okay, then you just push your fabric up against the guide that you've just made, and lift your presser foot up and push your fabric up against the needle. And you have got a 1/4 inch seam guide. Ta-da! All right. Now the next thing you can do is you can use it when we're making half square triangles. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I've taken one piece of that tape. There's the 4 layers or the 3 layers, doesn't matter. And I'm going to draw 3 lines on here, a 1/4 inch apart. Oops, I just drew on my sewing machine. Oh well, rubbing alcohol will take that off. And then I'm going to draw one more line. Sorry about the wiggle. And one more line, a 1/4 inch away from that one. Okay, we got 3 lines, 1/4 inch apart. You see that? And here's what I'm going to do with my scissors. I want to go over here and cut a little section out. real close. I'm gonna cut that line off. All right, come around here. I'm gonna do the same thing. Just cut right between those two lines and then cut that off. Alrighty. Now I'm gonna take this, let me move this foot. And I am gonna line it up, that middle line. I'm gonna line up that middle line with my needle. And I'm keeping it out away from my feed dogs. Okay? And just bringing it straight down. Like that. And put my foot back on there. There, it caught. Okay. Now this is a little trick for making half square triangles. I'm sure all of you have drawn a line from corner to corner and to make half square triangles. With this, we're not going to do that. What we're going to do is line up the tip of, let me pull you back a little bit. Draw up or line up the tip of your fabric with the line over here and the tip over the fabric with the line over here, and then just going to slide it forward, okay, right up against that needle and start stitching. Now from this point on, you're not going to look anywhere but right here and keep that tip on that line. All right, now we're just going to swing it around and do the same thing. Line up, I'm pull that out a little bit. Going to line up the point with the line up at the top on the line on the left, and then the point down here with the line on the left, and just move it up till it touches the needle and start sewing. Okay, cut it. And now all you gotta do is trim off those tails and cut apart your half square triangles and trim them up to the proper size. All right, and there you have it, 2 half square triangles without marking a line in the middle of them. Super easy. All right, guys, that's it. I don't have any more tips for using tape, not now anyway. Thanks for stopping by my little spot in Podunk, and if you would, please like, share, and subscribe. Just click that little like button, subscribe, hit the bell for the notifications so you'll never miss a video. It's something small that you guys can do that helps me out a lot. See you next time. Bye-bye.